This is the history of Project Ancient Arrow and the story behind an alien race known as the WINGMAKERS. In 1972, a group of friends were hiking a canyon in New Mexico when they made an amazing discovery. As they made their way past a section of the canyon wall, one of the friends seemed to notice what looked like a doorway. He immediately pointed this out to the other hikers and they began to investigate. When they pushed on a large section of the canyon wall and the door slid open. Little did they know at the time, they had just made one of the most significant discoveries in human history. Inside the chamber were many ancient artifacts and petroglyphs written all over the walls. As they continued deeper into the chamber, they quickly realized it was a multi-leveled cave system, each level containing different artifacts for mankind to discover, from technologies to poetry to paintings, even philosophical works. After exploring the cave for a couple of hours, the hikers realized the significance of their discovery, so they left and contacted the proper authorities. As a result, a team of archaeologists would take over, and what they would find would change the fabric of mankind's existence for eternity. They would conclude that the origins of the site dated back to just after the death of Christ, that the site had been there for well over a millennium, and the beings behind the site called themselves the WINGMAKERS. The WINGMAKERS chamber consisted of over 23 caverns, each of them containing a different artifact or technology. Artifacts ranging from beautiful music to paintings, unlike anything they had ever seen. They even discovered enigmatic technologies that even the most powerful organizations on Earth couldn't decipher at the time. Initially, everything they found could be dated back to the 8th century AD, except for one item, a compass. It was a technological artifact that they couldn't decipher. This compass was covered in strange hieroglyphic symbols, some of which were also seen on the pottery. This, along with pictographs that appeared seemingly out of nowhere, had the archaeologists stumped. The pictographs were like nothing they had ever seen in native culture, especially the Southwest and the entire continent for that matter. Because of these two anomalies, the project and its artifacts quickly became the property of the United States government, or more namely, the National Security Agency. They had concluded that this discovery may be evidence of prehistorical extraterrestrial presence on Earth, and that the NSA had the proper agenda and resources to launch a full-scale scientific expedition of the site. The site would be completely combed over by a secret department of the NSA, and in 1973 they would dub it Project Ancient Arrow. So after the NSA meticulously searches the site, they only make a couple additional discoveries, none of which were ancient technologies or items that proved that extraterrestrials were involved with the site. Only a few additional pictographic images were discovered, but still they called experts in to attempt to decipher them. In the end, they came to the conclusion that it was impossible to figure out exactly what they meant. So as quickly as the project had started as a priority investigation, it would fall into the archives of the NSA and become known as Project Ancient Arrow. As a result, this section of the canyon would be quarantined off and deemed a historical site. The goal was to leave it in its natural state. From time to time, the NSA would send in scientists to investigate, but they never found any new discoveries. So the project would collect dust for 21 years until 1994, when a series of rock slides would occur in that portion of the canyon. Shortly after this occurrence, a team of NSA scientists would go back to Ancient Arrow Canyon and study the site. Upon investigation, the team would discover a hidden cavern that led deep into the canyon walls. At the back of this cavern, the team would discover a well-hidden entrance into the interior wall of the Ancient Arrow site. Here they would find a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers that were carved into the solid rock. There were a total of 23 rooms found, each room consisting of many different ancient artifacts. Each artifact specifically designated to that room, and they consisted of paintings, wall art, elaborate hieroglyphs, and what seemed to be dormant ancient alien technologies from the future. Once this network of caverns and tunnels was discovered, it was promptly reported back to the director of the NSA. They would immediately reopen Project Ancient Arrow, and it was formally placed under the jurisdiction of the ACIO, the Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization. They wasted no time and established a top-secret research team. Their task was to discover additional findings and the exact nature of this project. The ACIO is considered an unacknowledged NSA entity. Even senior directors don't know it exists. It's said they have the lowest profile of any government organization that's ever been established. Their mission is to research, investigate, or replicate any technologies or discoveries of extraterrestrial origin. It consists of scientists that are completely anonymous, but yet they get paid over $400,000 a year, mainly for their IQ and their discretion. The objects discovered pertain to things like time travel and telepathy. The researchers didn't even know where to start. Over the next several months, the majority of the team's energy went to cataloging, organizing, and preserving the artifacts found at the site. Initially, this was at the expense of actually solving the puzzle, but they did talk about it frequently among themselves. The main hypothesis was an ancient extraterrestrial faction established themselves on Earth in the 8th century AD to help mankind. They built an Earth colony within the canyon and isolated themselves, but at the same time observed humanity and helped the advancement of them. They theorized that these extraterrestrials were super advanced and could possibly even be humans from the future. It took the research team nearly 2 years to develop a partial translation or deciphering of the artifacts. They'd find out that the 23 rooms were actually linked together to form one specific message. And in the 23rd chamber, they would locate an optical disc. I imagined this disc would be something like an actual CD, way back before they even had a thought of what a CD was. So we're talking the floppy disk era. When they located and discovered this optical disc, even the finest computers the ACIO had access to couldn't decipher or translate the disc. They didn't have anything that could even remotely begin to decode and read it. They spent another several months trying to figure out how to access the information on this optical disc, to no avail. After months of unsuccessfully trying to decipher the disc, the team concluded that the only viable option was to wait until technology advanced enough to read it. The research team presumed that the disc would hold star charts and the origins possibly of man, and the origins of the extraterrestrials that left it behind. And on top of that, hopefully, an explanation or deciphering of all the artifacts that they found. So the ACIO gathered all the artifacts once again and placed them into storage. But before they were to archive the project for a later date, there were 2 scientists that stepped up with an idea. These scientists felt that it wasn't as technologically involved in cracking the code as the research team thought. Their theory was that they could decipher the wall paintings, and that would lead them to the answer to crack the optical disc. And after a lot of convincing, the ACIO allowed them to build an exact replica of the ancient Arrow site. Over the next couple months, these scientists worked meticulously and around the clock trying to crack this code too. Alright y'all, part 2 next. You don't want to miss it. This story gets deep, and when you find out who the Wingmakers potentially are, it'll absolutely blow your mind. Once again, I was told to look into this story by you all. I've honestly been meaning to share it for a really long time, just haven't gotten around to it. I'm hoping that you guys like it. It's slow starting, and there's no crazy, plot line or punchline. It's just an amazingly cool, I think, true story. Also, I wanted to address my kind of random absence. I'm good. I'm definitely gonna get back to my regular routine of posting content. You guys know this. You know how I do this. I'm much more frequent than I've been posting lately, and I apologize for that. I will be back to my normal 3 to 5 video a week schedule. Basically, I am a normal human too, so I do have like normal human things. Like recently, I've been trying to find a car because my previous vehicle, it's running on its last leg. And let me tell you, if you think looking in or buying a car is fun, think again. Okay? It's not as fun as you might think. It's actually very friggin' stressful. So basically, that's where I've been, guys. I've been car shopping. And I think I've found mostly what I hope to get. So hopefully I'll be back on here more, and that's over with, because I am ready to come back to what I love, and that's creating for you guys. So don't bail on me just yet. Stick around. There's much more awesome content to come. Man, have I been getting hit up by some fascinating, amazing, awesome people in my email telling me the most elaborate, crazy stories I've ever heard of firsthand experiences, from ex-military to regular Joes. Crazy stuff. I'm talking dumbs. I am talking what's in them, where they are located. Crazy stuff like that, y'all. And maybe even some absolutely mind-blowing inside info on something we all know and like to call zombies. Stay tuned. Make sure you come back, and I'll probably be going live tonight or tomorrow night very soon. Love y'all. Stay in the light. Peace.